We are finally talking that hockey again with Jeremy Dewar because honestly, who else are we going to talk about Michigan State hockey with? You want to leave this up to just me? Absolutely not. No, we're going to bring on an actual expert that actually knows what he's talking about. Jeremy, how on earth are we doing over there, man?
It's a wonderful day on campus. It's doing well, man. It's a big weekend. It's crazy to actually have something to look forward to on a hockey weekend. I haven't felt this in years. So
we last talked to you before the season, and we're talking all the potential sunshine and rainbows that there could be. First year of the Adam Nightingale era, and just walking in with full hope. We kind of did the same thing with football season as well, and well, we know how that ended. However, oh my goodness gracious, hockey is back. That's my first question. Are the boys back, Jeremy?
Man, I have tried so hard to pump the brakes because I know how our fan base is, right? The second I say it's back and it goes sideways, then it's like, well, who's the new coach? Like, what do we do? Like, we do not for all the bad things we've observed as a fan base, we don't exactly deal with it well either. So, as someone who went through 9+ years of Anastas and Cole just being awful, I was just kind of like, no, I'm not going to tell you we're back yet because I want people to be excited when we're actually back. I took the break off, I think, last week. I think I'm ready to say this team. I think it was Brad LaPlante from Nearly Colors tweeted out no one has ever been this high in the pairwise at this point in the season and missed the NCAA tournament. So I don't know, man. It feels bad. It feels back. We could always still have a insane injury bug like the football team this season or something like that could derail it. But I don't know, man. It's hard to picture not making the NCAA tournament right now. Which is crazy to say. It doesn't feel right. But.
That absolutely is because, look, I follow the hockey team, but I'm probably just about as casual of a fan as you could ever hope for. However, even casual fans can appreciate this stat right here that this team has won 7 of their last 8 games. And honestly, it could have gone 8 for 8 there. I believe it was a late kind of game they gave away on the road to Penn State. But regardless, that is a good stretch. No, great stretch. What am I saying? That's a great stretch. We'll use the GREAT word. What has been going well with this team, though? What do you credit this success to?
I mean, the biggest stat, for me, is just the goal scoring is way up. I knew that we had some freshmen that I liked, and to give some credit where it's due. I mean, a majority of the freshmen are Dayton Cole holdovers, so it's not all on Nightingale. But I mean, the number one scorer on the team is a freshman who Adam Nightingale grabbed in May. So it's you got to give credit where it's due there too. But I mean, right now they've got 58 goals scored, 58, which is 5th in the country. The entire season last year, they scored 76. So we're going to beat last year's goal total probably before we hit 2023, possibly, depending on the next few weekends and how it goes. That's just insane. They're up a goal and a half a game right now. And it's a little bit of a mix of some talent infusion, but it's also just a mix of all the things that you hear about with a new hire, they've hit on, right? The guys who were here and had this talent, but either felt wore out by the coaching staff or they didn't have confidence or they weren't playing the right style. That's all come to fruition now. And you have the strength and conditioning coach has been amazing. I heard guys in the summer, parents and players telling me this guy's amazing. You're going to see a huge difference. And I feel like every new coach, that's one of the 3 things you've got to hear.
Yes,
is that the strength
that's
and
on the
conditioning
bingo
coach,
card.
The program's going great. It's a new strength and conditioning coach. That's why we're better. We have a new nutritionist. It's better. But this team in the third period just wears teams out. That's part of why that Penn State game is so surprising because they have not been letting teams take games away late, and they've more often than not been just hammering teams in the third. And they've continued to do that. So it's everything you want to hit on a new hire has been happening. Yeah. And it's kind of, again, why I don't want to take my foot off the brake was there's got to be a losing streak, right? You got to hit a wall at some point. It just can't keep going this way. But I don't know, man. It keeps going this way. 7 of 8, you can't knock it. So
And there's a huge weekend coming up, obviously. And look, it's Minnesota. You know, I think there's 58 different ranking sites for college hockey, but from what I've seen, Minnesota top 5 team. Like they are cream of the crop. They always are. What are your expectations going into this weekend? Because on one hand, yeah, Minnesota, really good team. They always are. But hey, got 2 home games Saturday. Also the Teddy Bear toss game. If you are in the Lansing area, get some tickets, bring a teddy bear, chuck that thing on the ice. What are the expectations, though, for a up-and-coming Michigan State team against an established Minnesota team?
I mean, so for the home series, if this was in Minnesota, I would have a hard time thinking they do anything out of like maybe you get a point or two because you force overtime,
Sure.
but that would be my expectation, and anything above that would be gravy. With a home series, like I'm hoping, like I'm thinking it's a split. Minnesota split with Ohio State. Michigan State swept
Okay.
them. Minnesota split with Penn State, as MSU did. And they're coming off a loss at Arizona State, which, I mean, not the best program. Like, not a bad program by any means, but, like, they should have swept Arizona State.
Okay.
So, I don't know, man. Like, looking at some of the common opponents, it feels like there's a split to be had here with them. But it is certainly going to be – I don't even know if I can say it's the best test they've had. I kind of rate Penn State and Minnesota about equal. And State went on
Okay.
the road, and like we talked about, they're 7 minutes away from, a possible sweep of Penn State. So, and they bounced back from the Friday loss to then come back and beat them 7-3 on Saturday. So, I think you got to at least expect a split here at home. Anything less than that would feel a little bit disappointing, especially going into a home and home with Michigan next weekend, who's getting healthy. Like I know Minnesota killed Michigan a couple weeks ago, but that was a Michigan team with their third string goalie playing forward for the night because they were so down. So
Oh my.
yeah, they had guys with a flu bug that were like in the hospital. Like it was a rough week for Michigan
Oh,
to catch
geez.
Minnesota. So so Michigan State split feels perfect. It's a hedge answer, but I mean, again,
Sure.
watch me in August, and I'm not telling you a split's possible. So,
And just on paper, like, what is the biggest difference between Michigan State, which, hey, obviously has something to be said about how well they're playing. They're top 15 in the ranks that I got them at, and then Minnesota top 5 team. What is the gap there between a top 5 team in hockey and where Michigan State is at right now? Is it just depth? Is it almost like Michigan State versus OSU in football, where it's just size and speed, or what is it from the hockey standpoint?
I would say at this point, I mean, depth is going to be it. I think it's going to be
Okay.
like being a fourth line kid at Minnesota is a different thing than being a fourth line kid in this version of Michigan State right now, maybe.
Okay.
But really, I mean, that's the other thing. Right now, MSU, all 4 lines are contributing, so it's pretty even there. I think the margin for error is much higher when you're at Minnesota, right? Like if you give up a mistake, you got a defenseman who can cover you. You're not always sure that's going to happen here, or
Gotcha.
and just the consistency of Minnesota. But again, I mean, Michigan State in the pairwise is 7, and that's a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. So
Wow.
it's more so, do you trust that this isn't all just like a new coach bump and they can sustain it? I think is where you're at with Michigan State, because top end talent, I mean, they're not going to match Minnesota. There's multiple first and second round NHL draft picks on Minnesota's team. MSU, like their NHL picks are 5th and 6th round guys. They're kind of flyers. So talent wise, not going to match it. But right now, like how they're coming together, it's kind of like being the D'Antonio team that beats one of those Ohio State teams, right? Like that's kind of like where you're at, where you're extremely well coached. You're playing well for your coach, and you overcome some of that talent disparity.
That's why I like talking to you, because you're good at the cross-sport references here. You talk to the lay people like me who just love football and basketball and get in the weeds on that, but only casually watch hockey. But that's a good comparison right there. Hey, before getting you out the door really quick, surely there's nothing going on recruiting-wise, right? There's no big splash names, right? Come on.
Oh man, yeah. This just last night, which was nice solve on the wound of the basketball game last night. But yeah, Maxim. I'm going to mess up this pronunciation because I'm not great at Slovak. Maxim Stravic, committed to the Spartans last night, 05 defenseman. So, and I'd say we talked about when we talked in the summer, that we were just coming off that string of all those 06 US and TDP kids committing. I'd say he's on that level. Right now, probably the guy that I love the most for NHL draft type is Corey Pronman, who works at The Athletic, and he has him in the first round, right at the end of the first round, like 29th. But watched a little video on him last night. Super, super talented kid. A defenseman who's going to score goals for you. I expect he might be here in the fall, which says a lot when you're 18 and you can make most freshmen are not 18. So he might be on that level. And for MSU fans, if you followed hockey a little bit, it reminds me a lot of like Jeff Petrie, who's gone on. He's had like a 10-year NHL career now. So super talented kid. And yeah, he's rolling. We also had another visitor this week. I won't say who was here, but both Max and another player were visiting this week. So they were busy recruiting this week. So keep your eye out for maybe, and this Max was a decommit from Vermont like about a month and a half ago, and the other kid they hosted is also a decommit from another spot. So we'll see if they close the deal with him. But they're in on some kids, and they're not sitting just happy on their laurels right now. They're actively improving the pipeline as well. So.
Bang. Look at that. Well, hey, thanks a ton, Jeremy. We hear time and time again, like, hey, get Jeremy back on. Let's talk some hockey. And dang it, we finally did. And it's even better when the season's going as good as it is right now. Right? So
we got to jump on while it's good.
Oh, absolutely, positively. Or, hey, maybe it could get even better. Maybe we're still on the upslope here. I mean, let's go. Add him, Nightingale. Let's go. Let's get it popping. I see the vision, Jeremy, and you are opening all of our eyes to the vision. Absolutely love having you on, as always. Thanks for your generosity, your time, and really quick, what is the teddy bear throwing strategy here? Is it like grenade toss? Is it like shot put, or what do we do here? Baseball throw?
So I would say grenade toss for one.
Okay.
Just because I just think it's the most fun. But low-key a tip. I used to work the ice crew at the Griffins game, so I had to clean up teddy bears. Remember that these are getting donated, and that ice is really wet. Wrap your teddy bear, like a grocery bag or like a Ziploc bag, some type of like bag that you can wrap it in.
Sure.
So they don't have to wash it. And I mean, I'm sure they will treat these are going to kids that are in hospital typically, or a donation, so they're going to treat them anyways, but low key, just to make sure that nothing happens to that teddy bear that you bring in. Put a little bag around it, and it'll keep it dry, and it makes it a little bit easier to throw too. So,
man, he does it all. He preaches about MSU hockey, gives us the inside scoops, and now breaks down the proper teddy bear toss. He's Jeremy Dewar. He's the best, and so is everyone else that listen or watch the show here on Locked On Spartans. We will be back. Go enjoy the rest of your weekend. Love you all. Go green. Let's go. Let's go.